Here's the brief. News from the world over this week. Pope Francis has announced some extraordinary changes for the upcoming Jubilee year of mercy. In a letter to Archbishop Rino Fisichella, the president of the Pontifical Council for the Promotion of the New Evangelization, the Holy Father said he is giving all priests for the year the authority to grant absolution to those who have been involved in abortions. Since abortion often includes automatic excommunication, under current canon law, abortion cases must involve diocesan bishops or priests delegated by the bishop. And in a gesture to the Society of St. Pius X, the Pope declared that clergy from the Breakaway Catholic group will be able to validly and licitly absolve sins during the Jubilee year. He added in the letter that he hopes solutions can be found in the near future to recover full communion with the priests and superiors of the society. The Pope also offered special indulgences to prisoners, the sick, and the elderly who cannot travel during the Jubilee year. They can watch a Mass on TV and receive the indulgence. There are some apparent canonical ambiguities that some church observers have raised. Among them, the Pope's letter appears to carry no canonical weight, as it is not a papal decree, a papal instruction, a motu proprio, or any other official papal document. The indulgences were simply explained in the letter. Some canonists are also asking if the Pope's letter alters the status of priests in the Society of St. Pius X and the faithful who currently seek absolution from them. We'll discuss all of this and more later in the show. And the Pope held a virtual audience with Americans ahead of his visit to the U.S. later this month. ABC News hosted the event, linking the Holy Father via satellite with the homeless, Mexican immigrants, students, and faithful from Chicago, Los Angeles, and McAllen, Texas, 3 cities he will not be visiting. The Pope said it is important for him to meet the citizens of the U.S., and at one point, Valerie Herrera, a high school senior, wept as she told Pope Francis she had turned to music for comfort because of the bullying she received due to a rare skin disorder. The Pope then asked her in English if she would sing for him. She was hesitant.
Be courageous.
Junto a ti, María, como niño quiero estar. Tómame en tus brazos, guíame en mi caminar.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you.
ABC will air a full version of the Pope's virtual audience in an upcoming edition of 2020. And details of the Pope's U.S. visit continue to trickle out. Washington Cardinal Archbishop Donald Wuerl announced that the Pope's canonization Mass of Blessed Junipero Serra will be conducted entirely in Spanish. This is a recognition to the large Hispanic population in the U.S., according to the Cardinal, and he added that the Pope speaking Spanish was appropriate, since this is the first Pope from the New World, and Spanish is the predominant language in the hemisphere. The Pope's address to Congress will be in English, according to the Cardinal. He added that the Pope will use that address to call for bipartisanship, offering a message that it's possible to work together. And the migration crisis in Europe continues to escalate on land and at sea. 4 men accused of involvement in the trafficking deaths of 71 people in Austria last week are being tried in a Hungarian court. And this heartbreaking photograph has shocked the collective conscience of Europeans and people around the world. This toddler was among many, mostly Syrian refugees, attempting to cross the Aegean Sea by boat from Turkey to Greece. Most are escaping the war-torn Middle East and northern Africa. Officials in Hungary have suspended rail travel in order to stem the tide of migrants seeking asylum in Germany. The move has led to mass protests and desperate acts by migrants. Other EU governments are coping with a flood of migration by toughening anti-human trafficking laws and dissuading migrants from making the dangerous trip unless they have well-founded claims of asylum. The German Bishops' Conference issued a statement acknowledging the tradition of giving sanctuary to refugees in churches. But they went on to say that sanctuary should only be granted as, quote, a last resort for the prevention of imminent human rights violations, end quote. And the leader of Philadelphia's Catholics waded into the immigration debate here in the U.S. on Tuesday. Archbishop Charles Chaput called Donald Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship, quote, a profoundly bad idea. He said Trump and others are playing on our worst fears and resentments. The debate on immigration, he said, has become ugly and bombastic. The Archbishop's criticism comes just weeks before Pope Francis arrives in the U.S., where immigration is expected to be a key part of the pontiff's message. Meanwhile, in the latest Monmouth poll, Trump's support is growing. He is now at 30% nationally. His nearest rival, Ben Carson, is at 18%. All the other candidates for the GOP nomination are in single digits. And ISIS jihadists released yet another graphic execution video this week. 4 men accused of being Shia spies are shown hog-tied in chains, hung upside down from a pole, and eventually burned alive. This video, we warn you, is difficult to watch. The prisoners, all dressed in orange jumpsuits, first confessed to their crimes on camera before meeting their fate. This latest ISIS video is believed to be in response to a similar graphic video released by Shia militants earlier in the week. It shows the execution of an ISIS fighter. Meanwhile, the prefect of the city of Rome has said that he sees a concrete and real threat of terrorist attacks during the Jubilee year. Franco Gabrielli, who is coordinating the city's planning for the Jubilee year, did not offer specifics, but he said that Rome will take security precautions to minimize the danger. Like all threats, he said, this one does not mean that we have to shut ourselves down. Back in the U.S., another shocking Planned Parenthood video was released this week by the Center for Medical Progress. The latest appears to show a business partner of Planned Parenthood unwittingly admitting to illegal activities. Advanced Bioscience Resources, Perring Larton, told the undercover investigator that her company operates a clinic for procuring fetal body parts in Minnesota. But Minnesota law explicitly forbids procuring, transferring, selling, or donating aborted body parts in any manner. Lawmakers there are calling on Democrat Governor Mark Dayton to investigate the matter. On Thursday, U.S. District Court Judge David Bunning jailed a county clerk in Kentucky over her refusal to issue same-sex marriage licenses. Earlier this week, the Supreme Court ruled against Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis, who was seeking relief from having to issue such licenses, citing her religious beliefs. Davis has not issued marriage licenses to any couples, gay or straight, since the U.S. Supreme Court same-sex marriage ruling came down in June. She says those seeking gay marriage licenses can get them from other Kentucky counties, and she was concerned about having her name printed on those licenses. And a federal judge on Monday sided with the organizers of the National March for Life in its challenge to the Obamacare contraceptive mandate. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon held that the March for Life could be exempt from the requirement, which includes sterilizations and abortion-causing drugs. Even though it is not a religious organization, it opposes abortion on ethical grounds rather than religious ones, so the ruling is significant. And Pope Francis's visit to New York will include Central Park. City officials announced that the Holy Father will take a short jaunt through New York's iconic park on September 25th. The Central Park pass-through would allow tens of thousands of people to see the Pope up close, according to city officials. You will need tickets, however. Any New York State resident can apply for the lottery, which will be held next week. Now, if you can't get tickets to Central Park or Washington, or if you're not going to be in Philly, be sure to tune in to EWTN. We'll be there with live, complete coverage of the entire papal visit, gavel to gavel. You'll really have the best seat in the house. Go to EWTN.com for details, and we'll be covering the Pope from the 19th when he lands in Cuba, straight through his departure from Philadelphia. Don't miss a moment of the visit.